Hi, it's been a while since I've done a video, but I wanted to share my junk journal with you that I made. Um, I'm calling this one a few of my favorite things, and it's kind of done in a shabby chic, um, vintage, and a little bit of steampunk mixed in because those are all my favorite styles of crafting. Um, to get started, the cover, I used some, oh, what do you call this? Oh, um, wedding dress applique, and the binding around the spine and the front and back cover is a doily that I use, and it was a vintage doily. And this is just the rose on the spine is, I got it at Michael's. It was in the jewelry department, and I thought it would be perfect for there. To close this piece of lace is attached to this little clip, and there was one on the other side. It used to be a piece to one of my daughter's dresses that I've had for years, and I kind of kept it, and I decided to use it on here. I do have a little P charm hanging from there, and that's for my first initial, or it could be for Paris because it's my favorite. This is a vintage image that I got off of the internet. It was a free printable, and I used some metal corner pieces for the edges here. So to open this, I did use Prima princess paper for the cover, and this is the only full sheet of paper that I used in this whole album. It is a junk journal, so I used scraps that I had and some junk that I had. But I don't call it junk, it's treasures. So for the inside cover, this right here is actually, let me move it up just a wee bit so you can see. It's actually a packaging from a Prima, I think it was the Sade and Pearls, but I'm not positive. And this was just a free printable that I coffee dyed. I coffee dyed most all the pages in here, and I did the technique where you put it in the coffee and then you put it in the oven, and it gives you this nice dark brown edge on it. Now this is some ephemera that I had. This is from a local college. It's a Canisius college, and this is a tuition slip from like 1950 something, and college back then for a semester was $156. So I've added that in there. This is a little pocket. Put that in there. And then this little jar was also a free printable, and I did coffee dye all these also, and I tucked that in here. And then on this page, this is my first signature. I just tucked a little envelope up here so I can add a little goodies inside, and then I just have a little piece of vintage paper attached with a paper clip. And then for this one, this is an old timesheet, and I can write on the back. This is an old sales slip from 1951, and then I just have a piece of notebook paper in here so I can write stuff on it. And then for this side, this is a big huge tag that I had, and I just tuck these in there so I can journal on them. And this has a little paper clip and a little pocket or envelope here that I can just write on. And inside, this is an old envelope. Inside I just have one of these little flip mini albums that you can, you know, put images or journal on the back, because the backs are blank. And then on the other side, it's kind of the same concept. I have two little journal pieces that I can put here, and then I have a torn piece of notebook paper that I coffee dyed. And this is an old sticker that I had that I can write on. And then this piece of paper I cut with a cherry lin die that I had and stuck it in there, and I figured I could put an image here and do some journaling in there. A piece of vellum, and I did put tab on it. And then I have, this is made out of just a piece of scrap cardstock, and it's just a pocket, and there's a tag that I made. And this is just another piece of I think it's a DCWV paper. It's old, but I had it and I just threw it in here. And I can journal on the back of that. And then I have a little, I did stamp here. I have a little pocket on the side that has an old button, little ephemera piece. And on this side I just have some pieces of scrap paper that I had, and a leftover image from a graphic 45 paper. And then what I did, this was an old music program from 1950 something that I just kind of ripped up and decoupaged on there. And here I can do some journaling on that piece of paper. And here it's just a scrap piece of paper that I just kind of punched the edges and put on there. Same with this one, it's scrap, and I can write. And of course I had to have my Eiffel Tower in here, and this was a scrap piece of paper. And here I just attached another piece of that vintage paper with some washi tape. And this is from one of my favorite little notepads. And I thought I'd add it in because here again, this is a few of my favorite things. Junk journal. And it says, cleaned under the beds today. As it turns out, I'm queen of a whole freaking lot. Yay me. And I love that saying. And this is the back. And this is the other side of the signatures, or the pages. Here, this is just not a die cut. I guess it could be called a die cut because it's just paper. And inside here I have a vintage library card that I stamped on. Just a journal spot that I had. And this is just a piece of paper that I thought I could put a picture on and write on the back. Tuck these back in here. And the other half of the vellum. And the other half of that page. And here's the other half of that pocket that I made out of an envelope. And here I have a little tuck spot. Has a little vintage image in there. I can write on the back. I have a postcard, and then another vintage postcard that I have. I'll just put those back later. This is a paper bag that I attached, and in here, and there's the same image that I put on the front. I just put some little journal spots inside there. And I don't know if I put, oh, yep, I have another journal spot inside the little bag. And And here's an envelope, an old envelope that I had. And I did coffee dye it. And I added the little, it's something, I think it's from a paper collection. And inside I have an old Niagara Mohawk Power Company bill for $4.11. That's when electric was cheap. And this was a free printable that I got online. It says "Love the Journey," and I thought it was cute. So I just took those right inside there. Oops, get in there. Still not in there. Sorry about my arm. Excuse me. And this is just the back of the envelope. I didn't do anything to it. I just kind of wanted to leave it the way it was, and I'd add something to it later. And this is just a scrap piece of paper. And it has an old book label that you can put your name on that I had laying around. So I added that, and these are some die cuts that, you know, I just never used. And inside, this was a scrap piece of paper that I had. So I added that in there. I think it's a pink paisley paper. And I can write on the back. And this is an old will call service ephemera piece that I had laying around. And then the back of this signature, let me scoot this over. I just stamped and used my sprays for this, and I decided to just leave it because I really like how it turned out. Okay, on this side, it's getting caught on my tablecloth here, sorry. This was from a Graphic 45 paper. It's Steampunk Debutante. Same with these. This was a scrap piece of paper, and I just used it as it was. It was all kind of cut in a triangular shape, and I just added it on here and used it as a little pocket, and I put these two in here. And then I have two journal spots here that were steampunk, and just a little tag that I just tucked in right underneath this image here, just like that. And then this is my Alice in Wonderland page. This was actually from a piece of clothing or jewelry or something that my kids had. So I thought, oh, that's kind of cute. I'm going to use that. And I have, whoops, we have some tags stuck together here. This is from the Marion Smith paper. These two items, I just tucked them in there, and then I have a tag that can be tucked right in here. And this is an old plastic, both sides, little plastic packaging to something that I just cut up and used it to make a pocket. And then here's just some plain coffee dyed paper, and I just kind of ripped it and added it in. And I have another vintage library card. And then for this pocket, it was just an old piece of cardstock and scraps of patterned paper, and I just tucked two journal spots in it. I can write on the back. And this is the back. This was an old sheet of paper, and I did stamp. I don't know if you could see that stamp. Let me see. There you go. It's real faded, and I liked it like that. Then I have an old map that I just made have a few little journal spots inside there, and some tickets. And I didn't do anything to this side. I figured I'd leave it. I may want to add photos or whatever. And then for this page, this rose image was actually from a old calendar book that I had. So I just cut it out and used it. And this is an old piece of notebook paper, and I did put a stamp across the top. And I have a couple of journals, a journal spot and a tag, which I can journal in the back or add a photo. And I just kind of tuck them in there just like that. And then here's a stamped page. Probably can't see it. It says life is a journey, not a destination. And I just put I had a border stamp up there. And then this dress form is from Graphic 45. It's a stamp. And this is just a piece of computer paper that I coffee dyed. Okay. And then I have an old card. Well, it's not really old. It's actually new, but I decided to add it in there. And another couple more pieces of scrap paper that I added in. A doily. An old math book page. And this is an envelope. And I added some journal spots in here, and this is all coffee related because I love my coffee. And same with here, it's an old coffee creamer top, and I added some little journal spots with tabs. And I have a coffee cup. It was an old Tim Hortons coffee cup that I had, and that's a local coffee shop here. And I just decorated it up and added it in there. The rest of the book page, the other half of the doily. These are the scrap papers. And I did some more stamping on both sides. The rest of the map is here. And then this is just a scrap piece of paper that I had. And here's a bag, and I have a tag here, and a tag there. And on this side, I just have scrap pieces of paper that I know I can journal on. It's not going to interfere with the pattern on it, and I just tucked them in there. And this one is, this was from the Marion Smith paper, the bottle here. And then I believe these are Prima. I got them from a friend, and that's part of the Marion Smith paper that I had. And this is just a big huge Kane Company tag that I had left over from years ago. And I say years ago, I mean years ago. And okay, so this right here is a little journal spot that it was a free printable. I got it online. I printed it out, and I just backed it with a little doily. And down here, let me move it up just a wee bit, is another half of a doily and another little thing from a paper collection. And I have another one of those jars, the mason jars, and a little journal spot. And then I also had this little envelope, and inside the envelope I just had a few little trinkets inside there that I can use, and I just took that right in there. And this page is an old requisition form piece of ephemera that I had, and I have these journal cards in there. They're both from Prima. There's that one and this one, and I colored them to look old. Another ripped piece of just computer paper that I coffee dyed, and this page I stamped both Follow Your Dreams, that little thing, and I made a pocket out of the paper, and inside I just have a little vintage image that I can journal in the back. And then I stamped Discover, Believe, and Delight on these tags that I had. Those back in. And these 2 pages I actually stamped with, I believe they're Martha Stewart stamps that I use, that I never used. They were sitting in my little stamp bin and never touched them. And now I've touched them. And there's another stamped page. Here is another scrap piece of paper, and I think it's that DCWV paper. Just another scrap paper. This is an old, oh, what do you call it? Calendar. This page is from a 1964, oh, what do you call it? Farmer's Almanac. And I just added a journal spot over here. And I like the little poem that was up there, so I left that so you could see it. Some more scrap papers from my bin. And I just added a little journal sticker there. And this is one of those old pastry bags. And this is an old button piece of, you know, they attach the buttons to the little cardboard. And I just tuck some little journal spots in there. And inside I have an old Chanel ad in there because I love Chanel No. 5 perfume. And this is just a leftover journal spot that I had. Some notebook paper, a doily, and some vintage book papers I did stamp. And I stamped on there. This is just an old journal spot that I just attached. And another journal spot with a little piece of doily there. And I did stamp a heart. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it? Getting a glare from my window. And just another journal spot. And this one I left blank. And just the rest of that. This is an envelope. And I tucked some more journal spots in there. That's from Prima, and I believe these were free printables that I got online. Find my spot here. And this envelope, turn around so you can see, I just attached a free printable that I got from Tsunami Rose. She has it up on her blog. And this is one of my favorites. I love this. There's several different designs. There's like an old Victorian shoe. There's an old typewriter. I can't remember the rest, but the crown is my favorite. I use it a lot. And I don't have anything in my envelope here because I just figured I could use it to tuck in, you know, memorabilia from something. And this is the back of another one of those stickers that I had. Whoops, let me move it up just a wee bit. And the other half of the Farmer's Almanac page. I like this, 12 rules for raising children. And I just added another journal spot on the other side. And this is just the other halves of some of the pages I already showed you. Now this is a scrap piece of paper, and I made it flip out, and I stamped on this side, and then the doilies are actually little pockets. Then I put a remember tag in, another vintage library card, that I can journal on, and a leftover journaling block from, I believe they're Prima. And I left this blank. Another ripped piece of computer paper that I coffee dyed. And for this page, I have one of the other postcards that I had, and I stamped on it, "Simple pleasures are life's greatest treasures." And I turned it into a pocket, and inside the pocket I had a vintage ephemera bingo card, a little heart that someone sent me, and I thought it was cute just to use that. And then I have a glycine envelope that I put some journal cards in that I can write on the back. And I just tuck them right in here like this. And of course I have paper behind that old notebook paper held on with a little washi tape. And then this is the last page, and I left it blank intentionally. I did stamp, you know, handmade because you're worth it, with my name. Because one of these days my kids, you know, when I do finally ever pass away, which I will eventually, everybody does, but I don't want them to find this and go, "What is this? Where did it come from?" and throw it out. So I always try to put something on the back of it to let everybody know, especially my kids, don't throw it out because I made it. And then this is the back of the cover. I just added a little applique to cover up the lace binding on there. And this is my very first junk journal.